guys, it's Panthers fan, back in another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 4 possible teams that can trade for Deshaun Watson because he's already said he will not play for the Houston Texans for this upcoming season, which pretty much makes the Texans trade him, or else they're just going to be wasting a lot of money on the bench because he won't be playing. So I'm going to give my 4 possible teams that I think he could be traded to. I know there's a lot of others, and I do think there's other teams he could be traded to, so maybe we can make a part 2 to this video. For now, I'm just going to pick 4 teams that I think have a good chance of getting him. There's other teams that have a lot of good chances as well because there's just a lot of teams that could trade for him and give up a good package with draft picks, players, etc. So before we do get into this video, I just want to apologize for the end screen not being great on the last video. I'm trying to figure that out. So hopefully on this video, it'll be a little bit better at the end of the video. And also go follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because I make a lot of stories up there. And thank you, Liam Hendricks, for reposting my story about his birthday, because that was yesterday at the time of filming. Late happy birthday to Liam Hendricks. And if you're not following me over there, go follow me over there, and I'll leave a link in the description. And let's get right into the 4 teams that I think could trade for Deshaun Watson in this offseason. So the first team I have on this list, in no particular order, I have the Miami Dolphins. The reason I have the Miami Dolphins is because they have 2 first-round picks. They have a really young, promising quarterback in Tua. Not exactly sure how to say his last name, so we're just going to say Tua. But I know he did not have the greatest rookie year, but it's his first year. He has a lot of potential, and if the Dolphins wanted, they could get Deshaun Watson and try to bring this offense to another level because the defense was really good last year, and they barely missed out on the playoffs. So Deshaun Watson would not be a bad replacement for Tua, and yes, they would probably give up 2 firsts, Tua, and probably a little bit more draft picks and possibly another player as well. But I think for the Dolphins, it's worth it if they will accept that, because yes, that 3rd overall pick and 18 overall pick would be nice to get more additions for this team, but if you can get Deshaun Watson and you're really close to contending right now and almost made the playoffs last year, you got to go for Deshaun Watson, at least in my opinion. So I could easily see the Dolphins making this trade. They do have 2 first-round picks from this year, and I would rather trade away all my draft capital for 1 year than over multiple years, because then after this year, then next year, I have all my draft capital like I need if I'm the Dolphins. So that's why I like this trade for the Dolphins, but we'll see if they can get the trade to go through. And also, I'm not going to get exact trade packages. I'm just going to give some suggestions because I'm not the NFL GM, so I'm not sure exactly what the Texans are going to want and what they're going to be willing to give up, the Dolphins. So I'm just giving like a general offer of what I think they would have to give up, and then maybe some more just for all these teams, just to let you know. But let's get into the second team that I think could trade for Watson. So the second team I think could trade for Watson is staying in the AFC East with the New York Jets, because the Jets have 2 first-round picks. They have number 2 overall and number 23. And I think the Jets should be very willing to trade away those 2 picks, because yes, they do need some playmakers, but if they can get their franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and then in the later round of the draft get a few players like maybe a running back for Watson, etc., and try to get some free agents to come over, I think this Jets team could be really good, because their team, I feel like last year was very talented. It wasn't probably talented enough to make a playoff push, but it was still very talented, and the problem was that Adam Gase, I just don't think, was the right coach for the Jets, and now that they have a new coach, I think this team could be really good if they can get a good quarterback, which Sam Darnold, if they keep and they get some weapons around him, I feel like he could have potential, because he really hasn't been given that great of a shot yet, because he hasn't had that many great weapons throughout his career. Someone from free agency, like maybe if you can get Juju Smith-Schuster to come, you have a lot of money, and pay him and then get that for Sam Darnold or Deshaun Watson, I feel like that would be good and make this offense better, and maybe Sam Darnold could be a little bit better this year if they do decide to stick with Darnold and not do a trade. I think if the Jets do this trade, they're going to have to give up number 2, number 23, Sam Darnold, and maybe some more draft picks and players. But I think the Jets, if they have the chance and the Texans are willing to take a deal, you have to do it, because a franchise quarterback is very hard to come by. Probably top 5 in the NFL, maybe even top 3, but I would say top 5, and a really good quarterback. And last year in Houston, he really didn't have a great team around him, and he led the league in passing yards, had under 10 interceptions, had over 30 touchdowns. So a really good year by Deshaun Watson. And I think if you can get a few weapons around him, maybe get the O-line a little bit better in New York. They do have Becton, who I think was very good, but get a little bit more help on that offensive line. I feel like that Jet offense could be really good next year. So the third team I think that could trade for Deshaun Watson is the Carolina Panthers. The reason I think the Panthers could trade for him is if they give up number 8, the Texans could still get a franchise quarterback like Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. One of those 3 could possibly fall to 8. And if they do, they could take him. And Teddy Bridgewater could be the bridge quarterback for whoever they decide to get out of that pick, if their quarterback's still available, or in a few years. And I think he's a perfect bridge quarterback. It's kind of funny how his name's Bridgewater, bridge quarterback. But I think he could be a great bridge quarterback for the Texans. And Also, the Panthers would give up number 8 overall, probably their second from this year, probably also a first from next year, and probably some more draft picks or players. But I think the Panthers, if they have the chance, should do this deal, because if they don't have to give away McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, or DJ Moore, they're going to have DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey. If they can somehow get a tight end through the draft or free agency, they could really make this team good. And on the defensive side of the ball, it's promising. There's a lot of young, good players. Just, I would say, if the Panthers do a trade, they better not trade Jeremy Chin or Brian Burns, because they're very good. And yes, I do get that you really would want that franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, but those are like your 2 best defensive players probably right now. So I don't think you could trade either of them. You could trade away Yetur Gross-Matos, sorry if I said the name incorrectly, Dante Jackson. Even though we don't have a ton of other corner help other than him, if it means getting a quarterback, I think it's worth it. So I think the Panthers could easily get this trade done. It's just I don't know if they're going to be willing to give up, because it would probably be a lot. They would probably need to put in some good players as well, since their draft pick, they have 8 this year. They don't have 2 first-rounders like the Dolphins and Jets. But I do think the Panthers have a really good shot, and Deshaun Watson, this is probably one of his best situations to come into right now, because he has a really good offense around him. And Christian McCaffrey is going to want to do really good this year, since he was out for majority of the year last year. So the final team that I think could trade for Deshaun Watson for this video is the Chicago Bears. Reason why? I feel like they could trade away Mitch Trubisky, give him to the Texans. Is he going to be that good in Houston? We'll have to see if he does get traded. But it's at least somewhat of a project quarterback, so there's still a chance. He's still pretty young, and if he can play kind of well, he could be a good quarterback there, and then give up their first-round pick, the Bears, which is number 20, and then some future picks and maybe some players as well. But I think if Deshaun Watson went to Chicago, that would be a great fit, because there's not a ton of offensive weapons there. Allen Robinson's most likely going to leave in free agency. And in Houston, he really didn't have much offensive weapons either, so it kind of shows that he really doesn't need offensive weapons to be good. It's just Houston didn't really have a great defense. That's why they were losing games, because Watson would put up tons of points, and then the defense would just give up touchdowns to the other team, and Watson eventually is not going to be able to score. If you're having a shootout, eventually somebody's not going to score, and Watson, fortunately, in some of those games, just could not finish it for the Texans. So I think the Bears could be a very good situation, especially with that really strong defense in Chicago, which carried them to a playoff spot this last season. So let me know what you think about these trades. I feel like any of those 4 teams are really good situations for Watson. And there's a lot of other teams, I think, which would also be good situations, but I didn't do all of them because I just wanted to do 4 teams in this video. But let me know down below if you want to see like 4 more teams in another video about where Watson could go. And also let me know where you think Watson will be traded to, or do you think the Texans keep him and just he doesn't play the whole year and they just waste all their money paying him when he's sitting on the bench. So that's going to do it for today's video. Subscribe to the channel down below if you're new, because it would really mean a lot to me. We're trying to hit 220 subscribers by the end of February, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.